Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you guys had a nice weekend. Hello to my class and Mr. Clendenin's. Again, this week we're going to be sharing videos. So every other day I believe you're going to hear my voice or his voice. All right, so today we're going to kind of move on from law of sines and we're going to look at the law of cosines. So the law of cosines are three different formulas, but they're all interrelated. So you guys, once you learn one formula, you're going to use it the exact same way. It's basically a side squared, so whichever one you are starting with, then its corresponding angle has to be after the cosine. So I'm going to talk about, again, you can pause and write down all three, but really it's a side squared equals the other two sides squared added together minus 2 times the other two sides times cosine of the angles across from these sides. So again, there's three different formulas, but they're all basically the same thing. It just depends on the given information that you have. So remember, start a new sheet of paper, label it, write down all this stuff, and then do your homework on that same sheet. Upload your picture to Google Docs and submit that to me or Mr. Clendenin. All right, you guys, here's our first example. We're going to be doing law of cosines again today. It says capital A is 24 degrees, little b or side B is 7, and little c or side C is 11. So the first thing that you are going to do tonight on your homework is choose which formula to use. Now, really what's going to be a dead giveaway is and I got to tell you what we're going to find. We're going to find little a. So we can add that, maybe put a colon and say find little a or side A. So the angle or what you're going to find is going to be the dead giveaway of which formula you should use. If you're going to find little a and you're given big A, we're going to be using the first formula here. So first thing I'll do is rewrite that formula. I have little a squared is equal to little b squared plus little c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of angle A. And I'll plug in the pieces that I know. Well, I don't know little a, so it stays a squared, is equal to little b is 7, and I square it, plus little c is 11, and I square it, minus 2 times little b is 7, times little c is 11, times the cosine of A, which is 24 degrees. And now I use my calculator. But what I would like for you to do, try not to do too much in a calculator at once. It can confuse you, especially on the next day. So here's what we want you to understand is that there are like 3 pieces to this puzzle. Just find those 3 answers first. So I have little a squared is equal to 7 squared is 49. 11 squared is 121, and then there's a minus symbol, and I plug all of that in my calculator. So I take 2 times 7 times 11 times the cosine of 24 degrees, and when I did that, I used my calculator, I got a decimal, and I'd say if you round to 1 decimal place, you'll be fine. So now I have just an addition or subtraction problem on the right. I can type that all in my calculator. And I have a squared is equal to 29.3. Now our final step to get little a by itself, we have to get rid of squared. So pause it right now and see if you can understand how to get rid of that. But the opposite of squared is square root. Now in algebra, we should put plus or minus, but since this is a geometry problem, okay, it's a triangle, can a side be negative? The answer is no. So we actually don't put the plus or minus there, but I think it. Because in a regular algebra problem, we should have it. So I do the square root of 29.3 in my calculator, and I get approximately 5.4 is the length of side A. All right, so you guys, all we're doing today is we are plugging in known pieces to this formula to find a missing piece. You're going to do the same thing tomorrow with Mr. Clendenin, It's just going to be today we're finding missing sides, and tomorrow you'll be finding missing angles. All right, we have one more example. I'm going to take these away. You should have these on your paper already so we can refer back to those. But I just want more room to show my work here. And our second example of the day, we're going to see something that's a little bit weird that you maybe didn't even think could have happened. But we have angle C is equal to 120 degrees. We have little a is equal to 9, and we have little b is equal to 5. And we're going to find side C, or little c. All right, it's really important to in your notes. Write down the original problem. Same thing in your homework. Start with the original problem so you can go back and kind of review this stuff. All right, the dead giveaway is going to be the side that we're finding and the angle that we have. So I'm going to call this the C formula of law of cosines. And it is little c squared is equal to little a squared plus little b squared minus 2 times a times b times the cosine of angle C. You don't have to memorize that formula, you just have to be able to use it. Now we plug in the pieces that we know. Well, C, little c, I don't know it because I'm finding it. So I keep that a variable. Little a is 9. Little b is 5. And little a is 9 and little b is 5 again, so use the sides twice. So it's 2 times 9 times 5 times the cosine of angle C, cosine of 120 degrees. Now, if you're not careful in this problem, you can make a mistake, and I'll kind of show you a mistake. So I got C squared is equal to 9 squared in your brain or your calculator, 81, plus 5 squared, 25. Then a lot of people just put the minus symbol down really quick, which is great. I usually do that too. But they type this in their calculator. 2 times 9 times 5 times the cosine of 120 degrees. Now when I type that in my calculator, I got negative 45. So people are like, great, it's minus 45. And that would be incorrect. Because remember, it's like 3 components. It's this answer, then it's a plus sign, this answer, then it's a minus sign, and then it's this answer. The answer to what I just underlined in here in red is negative 45. So that minus symbol has nothing to do with that answer. So it's not minus 45, it's minus negative 45 because that is what the answer was. Now, if you automatically change that to plus because you know minus and negative is plus, that's great. Okay, so that's what I'm actually going to plug in my calculator. So in my calculator, I do 81 plus 25 plus 45, and I got 151. And now the final step to get little c by itself is square root. Again, in an algebra setting, we always would have to put plus or minus in front of that square root. But since this is the side of a triangle, it must be positive. So when I take the square root of 151 in a calculator, I get approximately 12.3. And remember, all last week we were taking any side and rounding it to 1 decimal place. So let's go ahead and do that again this week. You guys have 2 homework problems. I'm going to show them to you. Then again, make sure you guys upload your Google Doc. And you guys will get full credit for participation. Good job. It's your boy, Mr. P. Here are the 2 homework problems. Let me zoom in here. Don't worry about the answer over there on the right. Just look at number 1. We're going to find little a. And number 2, we're going to find little b. Have a great day.